Tonight, the founder of collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, remains in a jail cell in the Bahamas as he waits for extradition to the United States and the possibility of spending decades behind bars.
In late 2022, the crypto world was shaken to its core, not by hackers, not by governments, but by one of its most trusted empires, FTX. Founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX wasn't just another crypto exchange. It was the golden child of digital finance, endorsed by celebrities, politicians, and billionaires alike. But behind the branding, partnerships, and billion-dollar evaluations was a ticking time bomb. What exploded wasn't just a company, it was an entire belief system. Today, we explore what really went wrong with FTX, what the headlines missed, and why this scandal is far more complicated and dangerous than most people realize. Building a crypto empire. However, when FTX was introduced in 2019, it had an ambitious goal. It was the fastest and the most innovative crypto derivatives exchange in the world, and it appeared to do so during a time. The platform rapidly ascended under the stewardship of Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF as popularly called, offering ultra-low trading fees, a sleek user interface, leading-edge functionality, and aggressive marketing. FTX enrolled diverse users, including Wall Street hedge funds, as well as college undergrads experiencing their first taste of crypto. SBF developed an image of genius and modesty. He was a media favorite through his messy hair, casual dress, as well as the off-sounding interviews. He has testified before Congress, made a pledge to give away his money via effective altruism, and has given millions of dollars in such an effort to political causes. In 2021, FTX achieved a valuation of $32 billion. SBF was touted as the moral billionaire, the new Warren Buffett of the era of the internet. However, behind the curve, FTX was scarily shallow. It had a slack internal organization, its audits were not finished, and its financial practices were disastrous. The management of SBF was unreliable and unpredictable, with a pretense of transparency that misled most of the people. The red flags were present, they were just hidden under the hype of cryptomania in the godlike faith in innovation. The shadow company, Alameda Research. Although FTX was on the front page of the news and positioned themselves as a future of finance, there was one more company, Alameda Research, that was scheming its failure in the background. Alameda was a crypto hedge fund founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF as well. Paper-wise, FTX and Alameda were separate organizations. Practically, they worked as a unity, and there were no law and ethical distinctions. The previous partner of SBF, Caroline Ellison, was made the CEO of Alameda, and this is where the seeds of the cracks started to come up. FTX is also said to have thrown billions in customer deposits into Alameda to support highly leveraged and speculative positions. Such transactions occurred in the darkness, unregulated, unaudited, unaccountable transactions. As the crypto market crashed in 2022, the unraveling of Alameda high-risk positions was due to start to unravel. And with them, the unstable notion of stability that FTX had constructed. FTX was not only an exchange, it was a pipeline. The reservoir was Alameda. It was thought by the customers that their assets were held safely. Yet in fact, this money was already lost in trading and was providing cushion to lavish lifestyles, along with maintaining the value of the FTT token. The maltreatment was not even accidental, it was more systemic and intentional. The action was not restraint as losses mounted, instead it was an escalation action. Higher stakes, more huge lies, and no regard whatsoever to monetary limits. It was avarice in the name of geniality. Did you know that FTX had near zero board supervision, given how they had control over billions of assets belonging to customers? Or that SBF invested company money to purchase lavishly priced property in the Bahamas, costing more than $300 million. The way the top executives mocked the lack of accounting systems was also revealed later in the internal messages on Slack. One employee found the financial structure to be referred to as a back-of-the-napkin balance sheet. In the terms of service, FTX made a clear statement that states that user assets should not be loaned or utilized, and the assets were transferred to Alameda in billions of dollars quite silently. It had no internal firewalls, pure friendships, gray areas, and blind faith. And worse still, even after the fall, certain FTX insiders continued receiving payment. Extravagant paychecks, bonus payments that could not be identified, and wires were paid until the time the authorities completely suffocated operations. The incompetency was not just poor, but was surreal. The collapse, from darling to disaster. November 2022, crypto news outlet CoinDesk obtained and published a leaked balance sheet of Alameda Research. It indicated that an enormous part of the Alameda funds, billions of dollars, was invested in FTT, the token of FTX itself, as opposed to stable and diversified investments. This dramatic shortage of liquidity and lean on self-issued token made a bang in the market. The largest competitor of FTX, Binance, who had the most FTT in his possession, rapidly declared that he was going to offset his FTT and initiated a liquidation. A panic occurred like wildfire. Within 3 days, FTX users withdrew $6 billion. The platform just could not sustain. During the week, FTX declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, stepped down. Inquiries were opened. There were billions of user funds that disappeared. The aftermath: trials, fallout, and global impact. In 2023, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas and shipped back to the United States, where he then faced a massive list of charges, including wire fraud, security fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. The arrest was the start to a downfall of the once-hyped crypto wonderkin. The personalities formerly involved in FTX and Alameda, such as Caroline Ellison, took their plea and agreed to work with federal prosecutors, providing incriminating information on how the empire was run. The harm was much more than just on the balance sheets of FTX. Trust in the whole cryptology industry had failed. Small investors lost their pensions. Significant venture capital companies such as Sequoia Capital wrote down their investments at FTX at zero value. Regulators throughout the world acted with alacrity and increased scrutiny and shut down exchanges. The deeper layers, why it was inevitable. A lot of people are accusing SBF. However, FTX was a systems failure as well, of the laws, of the regulations, and of the culture. The FTX was bound to happen in a world that idolizes charisma over caution and fast growth more than responsible financing. Shareholders missed blaring sirens. There was a glorification of a weird genius image by the media. Politicians were taking huge amounts of donations without probing them. Due diligence was taken over by the cult of personality. The FTX collapse was not a financial scam alone, but a mirror placed on the whole crypto industry to praise what can go wrong when put much more value upon the hype than upon the plain truth, and the charisma instead of the credibility. Sam Bankman-Fried can end up in prison over the next decades. However, this is not all that can be said about his sentencing. The verdict is only now left to the crypto industry itself, a verdict of reform, responsibility, and rebuilding. This failure revealed the extent to which the space has gone off the ideal meter. The trend of decentralization and financial freedom and its availability that started as a movement was taken over by out-of-control, influential, dangerous shortcuts and cults. Reconstruction is going to need more than just improved technology. There will be the need for improved morals. Were you able to look beyond the din of the crypto world and find out the underlying fault lines behind the largest crypto collapse in history thanks to this breakdown? If so, push that like button, subscribe to get more reality check style deep dives like this one, and add a comment below. What do you think should be the major lessons that the world needs to take away after the collapse of FTX? All this being a tale about crypto on the one hand, but a cautionary token about trust and truth and the price of both on the other. Until next time, stay informed, stay cautious, and remember, brilliance without ethics is just another kind of scam.